Today, instead of being Billy the Pencil, I'm going to be Mickey the Magic Mouse. And we're going to walk through all the things that Shane did in setting GeoGebra up in order to do the linear programming problem about the tenths. And the constraints that you guys came up with, as well as the profit equation, are on the screen right now. And I'm going to put those into GeoGebra. And I'm going to go through exactly the steps you'd have to go. I'm not going to skip anything. If we make a mistake, we're just going to go back and clear it out. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, since I'm going to try and paste this eventually into a Word document, is I'm going to go to Options, and I'm going to increase the font size. And I usually increase the font size to about 20. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to set the screen. And I'm going to set the viewing screen so that the x-axis goes from at least 0 to 32, and the y-axis goes from at least 0 to 21. So I'm going up to Options, I'm going down to Settings, I'm going to Graphics, and I'm going to set the x-axis with a minimum of about -5, and I'm going a little bit below 0 so I can see what I want to see. And I'm either going to go to 35 or 40 here. I think today I'll pick 35. We'll see how it looks. I'm going to do the same thing with the y-axis. I'm going to go down to about -5. And I've got to go to at least 21, so I think I'll go to 25. And then I think I'm going to go and I'm going to turn the grid on. I'm going to show the grid. And you can go if you want to and change the grid type, but this is right now is good enough for me. Alright, then I'm going to type in the inequalities just the way that we had them. So my first one is going to be x plus 2y. And it's less than or equal to 32, so I'm going to do a less than, then an equal. I'm a 32, I'm just going to hit a return. And the computer is going to graph that inequality for me. My next one is 3x plus 4y is less than or equal to 84. And the computer will graph that for me. You can see right now the region that we're looking at, we're interested in, is this darkened region right here. And then I'll type the next one in, which is y is less than or equal to 12. Okay, you can see our region gets further constrained. And then the next one I'm going to type in, and I really could skip this, is x is greater than or equal, at the equals, to 0. And again, you see our region getting a little bit darker. You can see the region we're interested in, and then I'll do y is greater than or equal to 0. And I've got the entire region of interest, or the entire feasible region, right here. Now, I did most of this just for me to look at, so I know what region I'm interested in. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to type in the equalities that go along with this, and later on you're going to see why I'm going to do that. So I'm going to type in x plus 2y, this time is equal to 32. And I'm going to type in 3x plus 4y equal to 84. I'm going to type in y is equal to 12. Then I'm going to do x is equal to 0. I could skip this one. I think you can figure out why I could skip it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to type in y is equal to 0. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go turn all these shaded regions off just by clicking on these dots up here. The reason I'm going to do that is when you use them, they just don't copy very well. So I'm going to go up and get a tool here that's called the polygon tool. And I'm going to shade in the polygon that goes with the feasible region. And what the program will do, and you'll see it highlight here, it'll go right to the intersections I want. So when it lights up, and I'll click, 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 and I go right back to where I started. And my feasible region is shaded with all the vertices in it and labeled. Now I can change the color on this, and I think I will, but I'm going to go up and I'm going to get out of my polygon tool. I'm going to click on the polygon, look at the properties here. I like the color. I don't mind the color, but I'm going to change the opacity. I'm going to make this, what I'm doing is I'm making this a little more solid. And you can see that, and I think you can probably see that in the video. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on my points, and I'm going to go to the properties. I'm going to go to basic, and it says show label, and right now it says name. I would rather see the value. So right now I know that that point right there is 0.12, and I like where it is. I'm going to do the same thing at this point B. Rather see the value. That point is 8.12. I'm going to do it with C. I'd like to see the value. That's 26. I'm going to do it with D. Same thing, and I'm going to do it with E. Okay, now I've got all the vertices of my feasible region. You would have had to do this by solving linear equations, and this is so easy and so fast. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I want to put the profit equation in. It's 50x plus 80y is equal to P, but I don't exactly know what to do with P, so I'm going to take a look back at my sheet. Now when you look back at the sheet, you see the x-intercept there. It's the biggest value that x can have is 32. And 50 times 32, I don't know what gives me, about 1,500. 1,600 here when you take 80 times 21. I'm just getting close, and that's about 3,100. So I think what I'm going to do, and see if you can't follow this, I'm going to go back to GeoGebra. I'm back at GeoGebra. I'm going to put something in that's called a slider. Right here, I'm going to highlight this tool. I'm going to click, and my slider's getting the name K. Well, I want my slider to be named P. And I want it to go from 0, that would be no profit at all, to about, just to be safe, I think I'll go to 3,200. And I think that'll do it for me, and I'm going to apply. And the slider will show up right there. Now if I go and pull on the slider, it'll change. Then down here, I'm going to type in the equation. This is my profit equation. 50x plus 80y is equal to, and since I called my slider P, I'll type P. Now what you notice, as soon as I hit the return, I get a line right here, and I click on it, you can see that's the line 50x plus 80y equals P. Now I've got the P set at 0, and what it's telling me is if I don't make any expedition tents or any standard tents, I'm not going to make any money. Well, now I'm going to increase the profit. by moving the slider, and you watch the line. As I move the slider, the line moves up. Now, right now, my equation is 50x plus 80y equals 800. And if you look right there, I could get 800 bucks in profit if I just made 10 of the, and I think this is the expedition tents right there. And you can figure that out. I don't know what this is of standard tents that would do the same thing, or anything in between here would give me $800 profit. Well, I'd like to make more than 800. So I keep moving this line. But if I move the line too far, this would be making $1,800 profit. There's nothing in the feasible region that will give me that. So I slide it back until I just barely, and I'm having a little trouble moving, but you can see right there. I just left the feasible region. So I think that what I should do is I should make 20 of the standard tents and 6 expedition tents. And then I think I'm going to maximize my profit. I think 1472 is about as high as I can get. Now, in order to figure out if that's true or not, you go back and you take the value of each one of these vertices, and we'll talk about this in class, I'm sure, into your profit equation and see which one gives you the maximum profit. But it's going to be that one right there. That'll be the one that does it. Now, if you're going to turn this in, you might not want to have that on there, and you might want to leave it. But what you need to do is you need to label your axes. So I'm going to do that. This is the text tool. I'm going to put a label down here, and I'm going to tell whoever reads it that that's standard tense. I type with one finger. You probably can do a little better than that. And I'll stick that right on the axes there. And I'll go get the tool again. And I'll type in, I think the other one is called expedition tense. And I'll put that up on the vertical axis right here. Now, I probably don't want to see the slider on something that I'm going to turn in. So I'm going to go, and I can't find, oh, there it is right there. I turn it off. And I really don't think I want to see the profit equation, which is this one right down here. Now you might have to figure out why. I click on it, you can see it. So I turn that off, and I just have my feasible region there. Now I'm going to take that, and I'm going to put that into a Word document. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go up here to where it says Export, and I'm going to export the graphics view to the clipboard. So I click right there. Now right now I've got Word open, and I would type in whatever I wanted to type in right here, whatever I decide to do. But I'm just going to do a Control V, and I'm going to paste my graph in there, and it takes a little while, but there it shows up. I got a good graph. I got a graph I can turn in. I did it fast. I can resize it if I want to. If I don't want it to be this big, I can shrink it. Or if I want it to be a little bit bigger, you can stretch it. I don't know what it gets saved as, if it's a JPEG or what it is, but it's something and it works good. And now you can print it. Again, like I said, if you don't like this color, if you can't print color, you maybe go back and do something else. But that's linear programming using GeoGebra, and it's pretty easy.